Now, a lot of the verses that speak about the water cycle are linked with verses that speak about fruits and plants. Now, if we were, because automatically as we are guided to the water cycle, we are also guided towards the fruits and plants and observe them and see what miracles Allah Ta'ala has created in them. We have on earth so many different fruits and grains, each with a unique flavor, a unique color, preserved so well for us in a perfect packing or a perfect packaging. Even if you go to a supermarket, they have products that are carefully packed. Yet in nature we find these things abundant. And the beauty of this is that in the winter months, when our body is in desperate need of vitamin C, we get fruits like oranges and grapefruits. In the summers, when we are in desperate need of hydration, we get fruits like melon, watermelon, grapes. Is this a coincidence? There are so many flavors for us to enjoy and to be thankful for. If Allah Ta'ala had willed, He could have easily created all the food in the world of one flavor, enough for our sustenance. It would help us grow and nourish us and all of that, but He has provided us with different flavors and fruits so that we may thank Him. It mentions in Surah Al-Ghafir chapter 40 verse 64, Allah is the one who rendered the earth habitable for you and the sky a formidable structure, and He designed you and designed you well. He is the one who provides you with good provisions. Such is Allah your Lord. Most exalted is Allah, Lord of the universe. It mentions in Surah Al-An'am chapter 6 verse 99. He is the one who sends down from the sky water, whereby we produce all kinds of plants. We produce from the green material multitudes of complex grains, palm trees with hanging clusters, and gardens of grapes, olives, and pomegranates. Fruits that are similar yet dissimilar. Note their fruits as they grow and ripen. These are signs for people who believe. Now, staying on the subject of food and now talking about livestock and the benefits that we get from livestock, we go to Surah An-Nahl chapter 16 verse 66, where Allah Ta'ala mentions, and in the livestock, that is cattle, there is an instructive sign for you. We provide you with the drink from their bellies, from the midst of excretion and blood. You get milk, pure and agreeable for the drinkers. Now, modern science has told us that excretion, we already know, is something that's filthy. But blood also is a cause of, it carries a lot of bacteria in it. And Allah Ta'ala mentions in this surah that in the middle of the bellies of the livestock, in the midst of the excretion and the blood, both are impure. In the middle of all of this, you get milk. And you drink that milk. And it is agreeable to you. And you like it. And you have so many benefits out of it. It gives you calcium for your bones. It helps you grow and develop, and so many benefits for you. Yet, do you understand that these are signs for those who can understand and those who believe? Now let's move on to the chapter of geology, where Allah Ta'ala has talked about the relationship between mountains and earthquakes. Now, in modern science, if you look at the description of mountains and how they are formed by the movements of the tectonic plates that are underneath the surface of the earth. And what happens is that when these surfaces collide, they collapse against each other and they form mountains. And these mountains not only go above the earth, but they also go below the earth. As a matter of fact, the roots of the mountains go deeper than the actual height of the mountain. Allah Ta'ala mentions in Surah An-Naba chapter 78 verse 6 and 7, did we not make the earth a wide expanse and the mountains as pegs? Now the terminology used is peg. And if you look at the latest scientific descriptions of a mountain, it is identical to a peg. What is a peg? I take a piece of wood, like a wooden stake, and I hammer it into the ground. What happens? A part of it is sticking out of the earth, and the majority of it is rooted in the earth. And what is the role of a peg? It stabilizes the earth. It mentions in Surah Al-Nahl chapter 16 verse 15, and He stabilizes mountains on earth, lest it tumbles with you, as well as rivers and roads, that you may be guided. Now, some of the staunchest critics of Islam argued that this statement is wrong. what Allah Ta'ala is saying is that, the mountains are the stabilizers of the earth. How is that possible? Because we know in science that the maximum amount of earthquakes that are happening are in the regions that are around mountainous areas. If you go to a doctor and you find a lot of patients over there, will you say that the doctor is the cause of those patients? The patients are going to the doctor for a cure. In the same way, the reason why earthquakes happen in areas around mountains is that if we were to take out the mountains, those areas would be just destroyed completely. The mountains stabilize the earth and prevent it from shaking further. Every time an earthquake happens, the mountains start to form. Why? So that the rest of the earth can be stabilized. And that is a point that has been proved now. Again, a fact that was revealed in the Holy Quran 1400 years ago. Now, staying on the subject of geology, we look at the lowest part of the earth. The part which has been mentioned in the Holy Quran as that this is the part which is the lowest part of the earth. It mentions in Surah Al-Rum, chapter 30, verse 2 and 3, certainly the Romans were defeated in the lowest part of the earth. After their defeat, they will rise again and win. The word used here is Adna al-Ard, which means the lowest part of the earth. Now, Muslims knew 1400 years ago that this verse was referring to the Dead Sea, which was where the Romans were defeated. Only recently, after conducting many experiments and many geological surveys of the earth and satellite imagery and all of that, did scientists find out that in fact the Dead Sea bed is the lowest part of the earth, a place known as Rift Valley, which is 400 meters below the surface of the earth. That remains today as the lowest part of the earth, which again is something that was revealed in the Holy Quran 1400 years ago. Now, another concept that Allah Ta'ala has mentioned for us is the preservation of the human body. In particular, the preservation of the human body of the Pharaoh of Moses. It mentions in Surah Yunus, chapter 10, verse 90 to 92. We brought the children of Israel across the sea. Pharaoh and his troops pursued them, aggressively and sinfully. Then, when he was on the point of drowning, he said, I believe that there is no God except the one in whom the children of Israel have believed. I am one of the Muslims. So this was a proclamation of the Pharaoh just before he was about to drown. He said, I believe. Allah Ta'ala answers his question by saying, what now? When previously you rebelled and were one of the corruptors, today we will preserve your body to set you up as a lesson for future generations. But verily, many among mankind are totally oblivious to our signs. Now, it's important to note here that in 1898, the body of the Pharaoh of Moses was discovered by the Red Sea in a place called Jabal Ain. This is after almost 3,000 years after the death of the Pharaoh. And this body now to date is preserved in the Royal Mummy's Chamber at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Now, when the body was discovered, it traveled around the world because people were so inspired and so shocked that a body which was 3,000 years old was still preserved in its original form. They made it travel around the world. It went around the world in museums. It was showcased in various places around the world for all mankind to see, and thus fulfilling what Allah Ta'ala had said, that today we preserve your body to set you up as a lesson for future generations. Now, even after 3,000 years, this body has remained preserved. How? Because scientists say that because the Egyptians were experts in the art of mummification. Yet, if we look at it from another point of view, can we also say that it is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who gave the art of preservation to the Egyptians and gave them the Pharaoh who was at the end preserved, and Allah Ta'ala mentioned it so beautifully in the Holy Quran that look, the one of the mightiest opponents of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who claimed divinity himself, who said that he was God and who did all kinds of corruption in the land, Allah Ta'ala made an example out of him. And even if you still today want to see his example, all you need to do is travel to Cairo. If you can't do that, go online, Google it, and you'll get so many tons of pictures of the Pharaoh himself preserved as in the shape that he died.